Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Game Show. I'm your host, Fred Y. And all this week, we've been going over classes on what it takes to stream, and I've been showing y'all what type of hardware to use, and eventually, we are going to get to the software. So, this is part 4 of these classes. Please take notes if you need to. We have already gone over three things so far. We have gone over the PC requirements. I actually showed y'all everything that you need to build the PC, or the components that you need to be inside the PC that you can just go and pick up. And I've told you places that I recommended to pick these PCs up. We also went over video, and we also went over audio. So I'm not going to go over those. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can actually go to the playlist and click back and go back and check these out. But today we're going to be talking about cableage. So let's get right into it. Because the reason why I'm remaking these is because the last time I made it, I was pretty much all over the place. So I'm trying to get it a little bit more structured than what it was before. Okay. So the cables that you may run into when you do your stream, some of these are still widely used by streamers, and some of these are still used on the professional side. Now, you're not going to use all of these, but I want to go over all the cables that I think that you're going to run into. Now, some of these cables produce video. Oh, I'm sorry. Produce video, audio, and even power, or one or the other. So we're going to go over all of the cables that you see on screen. Now, we have coaxial, we have composite and component. Now, these two I still get confused myself, and you'll see why. Composite and component. They're both of these are better known as RCA or AV cables as well. S video, you really probably won't run into too much. These are on like older systems or game systems like I will go back as far as like Dreamcast in that era. You have optical, which produces only audio. You have Firewire, which is another name for IEEE, and that was a big thing before USB. It was actually a faster transfer rate than USB. That produces a audio and video. VGA, which is commonly used for you computer people out there, and DVI, both of those are used. And DVI comes in different type of forms, man. It's different series of DVI. HDMI is what you all are probably used to right now with the Xboxes and cable boxes and all that other stuff. Display ports are, and that produces video and audio, high def as well, and power. And I learned this the hard way because I had a radio system in my car, and it had HDMI. I thought it was an in, and I hooked something up to it, and it blew my device out. So that produces power as well. Display port is also that something that PC people would know about. And BNC, this display port produces audio and video as well, up into high def and 4K and 6K and all that other stuff. BNC or SDI, they're both the same thing. USB, USB C type, that's new. They just brought that out like maybe like a year or so ago. And that does power, that does everything. It could do so much stuff. XLR with phantom power, and if you were watching yesterday, you'll know what phantom power was. Quarter inch and auxiliary, and you probably are looking at an auxiliary cable right now and you don't even know it, and you're also probably looking at a quarter inch cable right now and you don't even know it, and you don't know what that is. All right, so let's start off with the coax cable. Now, coax cables are still used in the industry today, right? They're also used if you have cable Um, you also see this running into the back of your cable box. That is the black or the white wire that runs into the back of your cable box. Now, this is what coaxial looks like. Coaxial looks just like this. Okay, so y'all are familiar with this. Y'all are familiar with this type of cable. I'm quite sure. You are. Hold on for a second. So this can produce sound and video, and it can produce all the way up to high def. Most people would say it can't do high definition. Yeah, it can. It can with the help of a box or something. You figure this: if you're watching 4K on your TV, your cable box TV, and you have a DVR, how do you think that signal is getting to that DVR? That DVR signal is being produced by that coaxial cable that's coming in the back of it, which gives you um, 4K, 8K, or whatever Ks it is. You know what I'm saying? So that produces a signal. And I'll tell you why again when we get to another cable, why this produces a high definition signal. Okay, so and then you all can go on YouTube. I mean, I'm sorry, not on YouTube, but through the internet, and you can find out what resolution the max resolution that produces. Right. So I don't want to get into all that because I need y'all to do some homework for yourself. Right. But this produces audio and video. It can go. It doesn't have a length. You can run this cable 300 feet, 400 feet, 500 feet, 1,000 feet, and you will not lose not near signal. Okay, this is a powerful cable, and it's a secure cable. And the reason why I say it's secure, you see these threads inside of it. Well, whatever device that it's going into, it locks on there because you got to twist that cable on there, and it's not so easy to somebody to step on and it comes out. Right, so this is very professional. They don't Streamers don't use this at all. It is very rare that you will come across this cable, but this cable can produce other cables. It can make other cables as well, and we'll get into that in a minute. So coaxial, we covered that. Let me see. Let me put a bullet point on here. So what was it? Alt 0149. All right. So if y'all don't know how to put a bullet point on your stuff in Windows, it's Alt. You have to hold down Alt, then type in 0149, and then release Alt, and then you'll have that bullet point right there. See, y'all learned something extra today. Okay, now composite and component. I always get this confused. I never get this right, because you'll see why. You'll see exactly why, what I'm talking about. Okay. This is a composite cable. This is a component cable. Composite, yeah. No. This is a component. This is a composite cable. See, that's why I get them confused. Okay, a composite cable. These are better known as RCA or AV cables. Now, a one of these cables can produce audio, video, and that's it, right? Now, typically, when you hook these cables up, you are hooking up the video side, which is the yellow that produces video, and the red and the white one produces sound, right? And the red is typically hooked up into the right side, and the white one is hooked up to the left side. And let me show you an example of Nintendo. Let me show you an example of where you can find this. Okay. So back in the day, if people had Nintendos, and you can hook this up two ways. You can hook it up either the coaxial way, or you can hook it up um, the component way, right? The component always gave you the better video, and this is on the original Nintendo. This is when I was, a teeny, just a little kid. You know what I'm saying? So it's been out for a long time. So usually, if you're gonna hook up RCA component, um, sometimes you only see the yellow and the red, but it's still the same principle. That would be the sound. The red would be the sound, and the yellow would be the video. So, and this is the good thing about this. You don't have to go through this color code. You don't have to have yellow as your video, or white as your sound. You can mix this up, mix and match any way that you want to. They're just the reason why they did this color coding is because so you don't cross the signal. So when you hook this up, you're like, why am I not getting the signal? Well, maybe because you have your this hooked up right inside your system, but then when you bring this to your television, maybe your video is going into the sound part of the back of your television, and that's why you're not getting any type of video, and you're only getting mono. Mono sound is it just has one speaker, so you only either hear out the right or the left channel, right? Or you'll hear out of both channels, but you'll have two of the same channels. So you'll have two of the lefts and two of the right channels. But you will hear it in stereo, but you're only honestly listening to two rights or two lefts, depending on the cableage. Now, this cable can be extended as long as it has no limitation, just like coaxial. It has no type of limitations. So, this is a good cable. This is probably one of the cables that you would also be dealing with. Many streamers and other people that use it that don't stream, that probably in your church or something, you would probably use a cable like this to go into your audio system if you're doing a record of something. But if you watched the episode yesterday and I showed y'all the mixer, this is the cord I was talking about, the RCA, better known, the component cable, better known as RCA or AV cable. So that's your cable, and this produces sound and video. All right. Now, composite cable. This is why I always get these confused, because it'd be like composite component. I can't find a system that makes me know the difference between composite and component. I have not found a trick to do that yet, so I still struggle with that. But component is the same thing as composite. The only difference between a component and a composite cable is that it can produce a better signal. Component feeds out the signal at like maybe 480p. Well, composite will produce a signal at 1080p. That's a higher resolution, or 1080i. That's a higher resolution. And the way that it's able to do that is because of the extra amount of RCA jacks that it has. Now, if you look at this, you're like, I can't, what's the difference, right? I don't see a yellow. This produces audio and video, right? And the way that it does it is that it still has two different audio channels. The right is the red, the left is the white. But this is how you get video into it. It splits this up into three of the color tones: the green, the blue, and the red. Now, if you have an older television, you may have this composite feed on the back. And sometimes people, when they hook these composite feeds up, their color looks strange. And the reason why your color looks off is because sometimes people get the green and the blue mixed up. They'll get the red correct, but they'll get the green and blue mixed up. And even sometimes they'll mix this red with this red over here. And it's all confusing. But you have to remember red, white, green, right? Red, white, green, then blue, red. That's the order that you'll get your cables in. And you'll see if your cable is out of order, because if you bring this red over here, you'll see that you'll cross that cable, right? So many of the people that have cable boxes still use this. This is a pretty good high definition signal. It just doesn't produce like 4K or anything like that. And just like composite and component, these cables are used still in the industry with streamers and other people that does live streaming, you know, whether it be a church or anything like that. But it's more of a consumer video connection, not a prosumer. And the reason why it's not a prosumer connection is because if you have this hooked into your video camera or whatever device that you have this coming out of, if somebody steps on this cord, they can easily pull these cables out, because over time these cables get loose from putting them in and putting them out, so they can easily slip out and you would never know. So say if you're manning a camera and you have this feed going out and somebody accidentally steps on this and you don't catch it in time, I mean, your stream is going to be messed up for a minute, because you have to go back and you have to plug one of these cables back in. Maybe you'll lose sound, or maybe you'll lose video. But the length that these things can run is, again, it's unlimited. I've never seen a limitation on any component, composite, or coaxial cable at all. So this, again, it produces sound and video. Okay, so if you look at the cable, it goes red, white, and green, right? That's how you know you got the color right. But if you start on the other side, it goes red, blue, and green. These are your video connections. And if you look on the back of your TV or whatever, monitor or whatever you're hooking this up, you'll see it. But it also have like these letters and numbers on it. It'll say like YR or Y3 or something like that. So it may not be color coded. It may be just the Y3, the something else. And but it's a series of numbers, but it's all three. It's on my actual JVC 700U camera, but it's in a different type of form. But if it's not colored, then it's like that Y something. I forget what it is. All right. So that, all right. S video. You're probably not going to see this at all, but I'll just show you what it is. And S video is just a video cable, but it produces a better signal than composite. No, it produces the better. Yeah, it produces a better signal than composite. And let me go ahead and Alt 0149 and then lift it up. All right. So that's how you do your bullet points on Windows. Alt 0149 and lift up that. So okay. So now we're on S video. This is what S video looks like. And sometimes you'll see a S video cable hooked up like this. You'll get a string of cables, like you'll get the composite plus the S video cable. So you either have the option of hooking it up composite, or you can get a better resolution and hooking it up with S video. Okay, this is a way better signal than S video to give you a clear picture. Not that much clearer that you can probably notice, but it'll give a real clear cable. See, this is one right here. You see how this one has the video, the right left channel, and then another video. So, and this is what the connections look like, right? This is the female side, and this would be the the male side. That's what the male side would look like. So that's the male side, and that is the female side right there. All right. So that's video. Now I don't know how lengthily these cables can be ran because I never really use. I'll probably only use it like maybe once or twice, but the video was a lot better than using the composite scenario. So, but it only produces video, nothing else. And I forgot to say coaxial, which is the if you go back, but coaxial can also produce power as well. It can also produce power, and I forgot to mention that. All right, so we're done with S video. Optical. Okay. Optical just produces sound. That's all it does. And this is primarily used today. What it's saying, it's like an infrared light that sends like surround sound or Dolby Digital signals. So say if you have a surround sound system where you have the two fronts, the two rears, and then the subwoofer at the bottom, instead of running all those cables, you just run this one optical cable from your system, and the optical cable will then tell the receiver what channels to put on those speakers. Now, this is still primarily used. You have it on the back of your Xboxes, and I think it's on the back of. I gotta look. On your, I know it was on the PlayStation. I forgot which one. I think it was even on the PlayStation 2 or 3. Maybe it was on the 4. I may be wrong. I'm not sure. But optical cables, it look just like this, and it produces sound. That's all it does. Okay, and it's okay. Then it was on the back of the PlayStation 4. Yep, it's on the back of the PlayStation 4. Correct. I was correct. All right. So it's a pretty good cable to have. What most people do is if they're routing the cable to their TV and it's producing the video, well, somehow they want to, if your TV doesn't want to handle it, or if you want to put it in a better receiver because your TV doesn't have a surround sound system, maybe they want to hook it to their surround sound system. What they would do is some devices like DVD players, Blu-ray players, and video game systems, they'll come with an optical port on the back of it. And what you can do is you can take this optical port, put it in the back of your stereo system, and then that will produce the surround sound Dolby signal. So it'll be a better signal than just going straight to your TV or to your monitor. All right. So we got optical, and that only produces sound. Now, Firewire or IEE. Boy, I used to love this. Okay. Let me just put a all right. Firewire, better known as IEEE. Okay. And this comes in two different type of forms. This comes into this big fat form right here, and this mini one. Now, Firewire was primarily, and see here goes a optical jack. Firewire was primarily used by Macs back in the day. Macs had this. It was a proprietary.
Motion detected at the front door.
It was a proprietary connection, and actually, when I had one of my first Mac Pro had this connection on it, and I had a little rinky-dink JVC camera when I first started out, and it had this connection on it. And what it would do was when I hooked it up to Final Cut Pro, it would control the camera. It was a tape-based camera. Actually, my man Keith, he had took it to Florida with him to record him and his family at the time. But it produces a great signal, and it was a great transfer rate. This was in competition with USB, the first USB that came out. It was a faster transfer rate, but just like it just fizzled out. Just like when Blu-ray and HDD came out. Blu-ray was Microsoft, HDD was Sony, and you see what happened in those wars. Blu-ray won, HDD had fizzled out, and I still have my Xbox HDD hard drive, not hard drive, but disc player, and it doesn't work, and I still have a couple of HDD movies. All right, so this produces sound and video. Now, the length of these cables, as far as I know, you can probably get them pretty long. This is what a input looks like, the male part, and this would be primarily on your computer. That would be okay. This would be the female, and that would be the male. I don't know how long these would run, but you may come across that in the field if you're doing outside streaming. If you hooking up older equipment, more so like tape-based type things, you might run into this. And it also comes in this one as well. This was new when I got my second Mac Pro. This was on it, so that was a new FireWire extension. FireWire IEE 1394. That's what it was. So produces video and audio, no power. And got that out the way. VGA. Y'all know what VGA is. VGA, it just produces video. And you can see these like on the back of your computer, and for these older monitors has VGA on it, and that's exactly what it looks like. Now, sometimes you may deal with VGA when you're hooking up your computer to a display, and it may have VGA, and this is what the back of it may look like. You may have that under your monitor, or even some TVs may still have VGA, and it just produces video. Now, I don't know typically how long these cables can run, but I think you're good with like maybe 100 feet, but you have to keep getting them and keep getting adapters, like a female to female adapter, and just keep running them. Maybe you have a server or something that's like in your basement, and you running all your movies from that server, and you want to get that video signal all the way up to your TV, and you just running a massive amount of these, or maybe they sell them in like 100 feet cableage. I don't know, but this just produces video. That's it. All right. So DVI. Now, DVI is very tricky, and this also only produces video. DVI has so many different it has so many different connections. You see, this is a DVI connection. You see how you have this pin going from left to right, and then you have all these other pins right here. But look at this pin. You have one pin here, 6 pins here, and another 6 pins right here. So they don't look similar, right? But sometimes, depending on, like if you have a port like this, now you'll be able to hook up this one to it because you have that little slash right here, and you'll be able to hook the 6 pins here and then the last 6 pins over here. But you you have different types. See, like right here, this is a different type of um, DVI connection. So DVI is very tricky when it comes there. You just can't go pick up a DVI cable just like you can do all these other cables. There are different variants to DVI cables, and if you pick the wrong one, you may not be able to use it. Because I know I had, see, this is a different DVI connection than this one right here. Now, this cable can go in this because it has that slot right there. But if you have a DVI connection that has it from up and down, that left to right, if this was up and down, that left to right, top to bottom, it wouldn't be able to fit inside here because you need the ones that go from left to right, that one little slash. So DVI is very tricky. I don't like the, okay, here we are. These are the different DVI connections right here. Well, some of them. That's not all of them. But, and this produces a better signal than VGA. Okay. So, a way better signal than VGA. It's like VGA is DVD quality, and DVI is Blu-ray quality. Okay. So we got that. Now, HDMI. Everybody knows what an HDMI cable is. Everybody knows. This is what an HDMI cable looks like. And this comes in different variants as well. This comes in maybe a micro HDMI. See how this is right here? This is a micro or a mini HDMI. So HDMI can come in this side or this size, or it could be a very small size. It's depending on.
Motion detected at the front door.
Hold on, Alexa, turn volume down to 0. Alexa, mute yourself. All right. So this produces a video signal. This can produce all the way up to 12K, depending on the cable that you get. Okay. And this is kind of tricky. These cables don't like to be ran over 12 feet. Anything over 12 feet will start losing signal. Right. Now I do have like a 75 footer and a 50 footer, and I haven't had any problems running that cable, and it's supposed to be a 4 cable. When these cables was made earlier back in the day, it just didn't like being ran over a certain amount of feet because it would lose frequency. It would lose latency. It would have latency in it, and latency your video would be way behind your next camera. And I just recently used my 75-foot cable in this production that I did, and it worked flawlessly. I got it from eBay, of all places. So this is an example right here, but that thing keeps going over, where it's a mini HDMI. Now, HDMI could be ran, it's saying it can be ran a long distance, but it needs an additional box called a repeater on it. If you're going to run it anything over a couple of 100 feet, you're going to need a repeater on it to boost that signal. Okay, so Walmart, actually, their displays in the back, they have repeaters on it, because all of those are hooked up to a HDMI feed. And to get that displayed on all those TVs like Target and Walmart, it uses a repeater. So and remember, you can convert these signals, these cables. Like this is a converter right here, HDMI to VGA. So keep that in mind. You can do converters to get one signal to read another signal type. You just have to convert whatever that signal is to whatever the input signal to the output signal. All right. So this produces audio, video, and power. And I learned the hard way. I had uh, some type of audio system in my car, and I hooked that HDMI up to it, and it blew that device. I think I was trying to hook up an Apple TV to my car, and it blew that joint. Man, I was so mad. I was hotter than a bowl of Al Green grits. You hear me? So, yeah, real powerful cable. Now this is randomly used. I mean, all over, because streamers use this. All streamers use the HDMI cable. You know, this is running in the back of your Xbox, your PlayStations, most of your video game systems, your TVs, your cable boxes. But this is a consumer cable, because what tends to happen is if you stick this cable inside of maybe like your camera, most cameras have HDMI out, and somebody steps on this cable, well, one, it's going to possibly damage your camera, and number two, it's just going to slide out because it doesn't have any type of locking system in it, right? So we do use these. Don't get me wrong, I do use these cables because, like, both my Blackmagic cameras have HDMI out. The only SDI or BNC camera that I have is my JVC 700U, and that has a locking mechanism on it, so I don't have to worry about the cable being pulled out. All right. So, and then I forgot to go over. Firewire isn't lockable. S video isn't lockable. VGA, it is lockable. You got to turn those two little knobs at the end as DVI. So these are more on the prosumer and consumer ports. All right. So display port. Display port looks just like an HDMI port if you just look at it and you don't pay attention to it. Now, most of you all will have this in the back of some of your computers or any other systems that do this, right? Now, display port, it has somewhat of a locking system because you see this little hump right there, this little button. When you put this in a display system, it has two little forks that stick up that prevents it from coming out. So this is more of a professional type connection. It produces a better signal than HDMI, but this one also can produce power, video, and audio. The length on this, I really don't know how long you can run this. I do use an adapter that turns one of my display ports into HDMI port so I can run it to my monitors. So this is a pretty good one, and you would run into this in the field, especially when you're setting up your computer and your monitors and things like that. But display cables are definitely good to use. And they produce an excellent signal, and it's also a lockable cable as well. All right, so display port, BNC, and SDI. Well, they're the same thing to me. Somebody may tell you different. They look similar. I've never seen something that would say, specify the difference between B and C. If I order a B and C cable, it'll work on my SDI cable. So I think it's the same thing, but B and C, it also comes in different port variations. This is B and C, and this is a B and C cable, but this tends to go inside that one. That's the male end, and this is the female end. Now, this is what professionals use. This is what people like myself use. The reason why we use these type of connections is because They will not come out. If somebody steps on them, maybe your camera will fall off and it'll keep recording. But this is a locking system. It does not come out. You don't have to worry about it easily coming out, because you push the cable in and then you twist it and it locks on these two little knobs. You can see that little sleeve right there. It locks on that little bitty knob and it secures the connection. Now, this, you can run this actually 300 feet. 300 feet without losing any signal, without getting any latency. 300 feet. This also can produce sound and video and power, right? And speaking of that, I gotta add one more to the list. Now, these cables, you can either go out and buy them, or then sometimes you can actually make them with coaxial cables, right? Now, for people that install cable, or you know somebody that install cable, they'll know what I'm talking about, because even when I was doing cable, you have to make your own RCA cable. I mean, not RCA, but you have to make your own coaxial cables, right? To fit to the customer from the back of the TV to the cable box. You know, you wouldn't make them like a 50-foot cable and they only need like 4 feet of cable. So you would just judge it with that. But you can turn a coaxial cable into a BNC cable with just an adapter, and I'll show you that real quick. So I have a couple of these things right here, and this is what it looks like. You would screw the coaxial cable on here, and it'll turn into a BNC cable. And this is the way that you can run longer cable. Because, like, remember when I said that coaxial cables can do high definition? Well, this does high definition. This does very high definition, but it's all depending on the type of cable that you get. But you can make these yourself, right? So if you're running BNC, or you do have a BNC device and you just can't find the BNC cable, you can order a couple of these, have these on standby, and you can make your own coaxial cables, or you can buy, a coaxial cable or 300 feet. They're very cheap. You can find them in like the Dollar Tree and other places that still sell telephones. You know what I'm saying? So again, this produces sound, video, and it can also do power. It can be ran up to 300 feet without losing any type of signal. This is the best cable out of all the cables that I'm mentioning today. So pretty good. And they come in different variants. Like they come in, they're still called BNC, but they're a little bit different. Like I have a Blackmagic Shuttle 2, and it has this small BNC connection type, but it's not called BNC, it's called something else. But it has this small little connector. I forget what it's called, but it's still a BNC, but it's a smaller version of it. Hey, what's up, Dewan? Now, USB. And I also do USB-C. Again, bullet points. You hold down alternate, press 0149, release alternate. All right. So USB. Now we all know what USB is, and this also comes in different types. You have micro USB. You have this type of USB. You have this type of USB. Okay. You have USB 1.0, which is the older version of USB. You have USB 2.0. You also have USB 3.0 and 3.1. 3.1 is the fastest out of all the USBs, and USB cables. Again, I don't know how long you can run these to get a signal, but you can split them so many times and connect them. For instance, I have another JVC camera, the same one that I'm using to stream live to this one, but I'll use that as my overhead camera. And the way that I have it set up here, I have to run an extra USB cable to give it power because it's coming. It feeds the power through the USB port. Now, I already mentioned that this can do power. This can also do audio and video and data transfer. This thing can do wonders right here. You would probably run into this in your streams, whether you're using this to run a flash drive to copy over some files, whether you're hooking up to a device, whether a web camera or external hard drive or SDD hard drive, things like that. And you would, and this is another USB type right here. I have an external DVD player. Yeah. And it uses this old style of USB. And this is awesome. Some people can even make these. Now, I've never made the USB cable, but it's not that hard to do. It's just 4 different connections that you use, and you use either a Cat 5 or Cat 6 cable. And I'll get into that as well. But this can produce everything: power, video, audio, and sound. Power, audio, and video, and data. So everybody knows with USB. You got a thumb drive, that's a USB thumb drive, okay? All right. Now get to USB-C. Now, USB-C has just launched on the market. It's been here for a while, but it just got known as being the most powerfulest USB that you can use. USB this can produce, it can do so much at once, right? This blows USB 3.0 away. What happens is that in your PC, you may not have enough USB ports when you're hooking up all your stuff to it, whether it be a webcam or a mixer or something that uses that USB port. Well, if you don't have enough USB ports, like the gaming PC that I built, that uses, I got 2 Oculus, but the one Oculus that I have has the sensors in it, but I didn't have enough USB ports in the back of that to hook up all the other stuff that I had going back there. And USB, it was fine, but if you get a USB-C hub, man, you can do Ethernet, you can do video, you can do all types of stuff with USB-C. And this thing is amazing. So I don't know why they're only putting one USB-C port on motherboards now. So if you build a PC, or you go out and buy a new PC, or you go out and buy a new laptop, chances is you're going to have at least one USB-C port. On Macs, you at least have like maybe either 2 or 3. So PC, you need to catch up. Or you can buy a PCI Express card that you can put inside of your computer and give you more USB-C ports. But that's ridiculous. Come on, Microsoft and Windows builders and stuff like that. Come on, man. But USB-C type is awesome, and you would run into this. Say if you're doing a stream and you're doing it on a laptop, right? Well, like I told you a couple of days ago, when you're doing a stream, you need multiple laptops. You need multiple displays, because you need to engage with your audience. So when you see me keep looking to the right and left, I have 3 screens already up, right? I'm using 3 screens, and I'm looking to see like who came into the chat, or who said what, or how many views I got. So you can hook up a USB-C hub, and you can have multiple monitors. You can have internet connections, and I'll show you real quick what the USB-C hub looks like. All right. So this is what a USB-C hub looks like. Now look at this bad boy. You can hook all this stuff up, and you won't put nothing. You won't boggle down the processor on your computer, right? You see this right here? It has two, two HDMI outs. Two HDMI outs. It has a USB, another USB C, auxiliary channel, card reader, and three other additional USB ports on the back. Freaking amazing! It's amazing. It is amazing. So that's USB C. Okay. And I'm glad that I was talking about this. Now, Ethernet. Now, y'all got to know what an Ethernet cable is. This is how you get internet in your house. These are the. It looks like a telephone cable. If y'all know what telephones used to be, it looks like a telephone cable, but it's a lot bigger. So they have different types of Ethernet cables. You have a straight Ethernet cable here, and you have some Ethernet cables that are called I forgot the terminology for it, but it's going to come across to me. But it's different type of Ethernet cables, right? And it's different type of cables that can be used to make these Ethernet cables. Now you can either use Cat 6 or RJ55 or RJ45, right? To me, there's no big difference in it. Somebody would tell you, oh, patch cable. A patch cable, and then there's another type of cable, right? You can make these. Now, people that install cable TVs, they install cable. They have RJ45, 55, and Cat 5 cables in their car to make you an Ethernet cable. Now, this can produce video, audio, and power and data. So it can produce four things. This can actually power up your ATEM, if you know what the ATEM is. We'll go over that later. But this can power your ATEM, or this can send power through your device. Power over Ethernet is what it's called. So you don't have to plug a certain device into the wall to get power. You can send this to your Ethernet port, and this will run like maybe if you have power over Ethernet that a router will use, where you don't have to worry about plugging into your router to the wall. Your router will be fed power through some different other type of source. Now this could be ran at so many feet, thousands of feet, and not lose any type of signal loss at all. Okay. So this is real commonly used. This is always used because when you stream, you always want to be hardwired. You never want to go wireless. There are times where you don't have a choice and you have to be wireless. That's if you're out in the field, say maybe you're at a football game, or maybe you're live streaming a wedding or something like that, and you're doing that production. Well, and you can't tie into the system that they have. Well, you have to go 4G or 5G through some type of box to get you internet, and then you have to be wireless then, and some of y'all who stream on your phones, you're wireless. You're not. Anybody that stream on their phones are not hardwired. You're wireless, and you have a better stream if you're hardwired than streaming on your phone. And I already explained that. To use your phone or a tablet to do live streaming, that's a good thing to when you start. But as you start perfecting your craft, you're going to find out that would be a hassle. It's so much better dealing with a webcam or a DSLR or a camcorder than it is dealing with your phone. If somebody calls you, boom, okay, your stream is interrupted. Okay, so Ethernet cable. So that produces everything. All right. It's getting down to the wire, y'all. I hope y'all are enjoying this. I hope out of this series I've educated at least one person. Okay. All right. So XLR and phantom power. Okay. Now, XLR is used for microphones. You would hook your microphone up to an XLR cable. Then you will hook your XLR cable to your mixer board. And that's how you get sound, right? So you have a negative, you have a positive, and you have a ground. That's what these three connections are. This would typically go into your microphone, and this part will go into your mixer or your sound card or whatever it is. All right. So, and you notice I have phantom power. What phantom power is 48 volts given to the microphone to produce a real clear sound. Now, if y'all watch movies, you watch Hustle and Flow, or you watch the Biggie or the Tupac series, or any other series, if you watch Empire or Star, and you see him in a booth, and like yo 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 yo, they're spitting into a phantom power mic, XLR 48. And your phantom powered mics would tend to look something like this. I'll do it better. So yeah, you see how the artist is right here singing. This is called a pop stopper, by the way. It stops the you won't hear that, because when people start to spit and like the people in the pot and the peep and the poop, you know what I'm saying? When you have that pop stopper in front of there, actually, do I have one here? What I do for y'all, man. Now, this is a pop stopper, and this goes in front of the mic, and it will reduce that, and it'll stop you spitting on the mic, right? So it reduces that tremendously. So this is a pop stopper, but this you can, if you're getting a condenser mic, is also what these mics are called. You can put this in front of it, and it stops it from the and stuff like that. And you spitting all over the mic. This needs to go back on there. So when I record or I do voiceovers and stuff like that, I use the phantom powered mic. And actually, I'll be doing something this weekend. I got to remember where I got to bring that. Well, no, I'm not bringing that because I'm not recording her in the booth. So that's what an XLR mic is. And if you get an XLR mic and you get one of these mics and say phantom powered, and you hook up to your sound, either your sound card or your mixing board, you're like, it's not working. Why it's not working? I don't hear anything. It's real low. Your mixer will have a phantom power button on it, or it'll say 48 volts, or it'll be in red. Let me show you real quick. And I covered this yesterday. Oh, excuse me. So this is a mixer board, right? So you see these XLR points, right? You see these RCA, and we're about to go over what this is. But remember when I said it'd be red or it'll say 48 volts in it? Well, this says phantom power right here. And once you hook that condenser mic up to it and you don't hear anything, as soon as you press that button, then you'll hear all of it. This is what you'll hear if you hook up a phantom powered mic and you don't give it 48 volts. This is what you hear. Yeah, 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Now, as soon as you hit that 48 volts, then you'll hear this. So that's what a phantom power mic does or is. And you will hook that up XLR. All right. Now, getting down to the last two. Bullet points, y'all. I'm teaching y'all something tonight. Alt 0149. That's how you make a bullet point. Now, 1/4 inch and auxiliary. It's the same thing. It produces only audio, and this can be ran 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet. It doesn't matter. As well as XLR can be ran that way. Okay. So, knock 2 stones out in one. This right here is an auxiliary hookup. Now, many of you that have car stereos will have an auxiliary hole in that stereo system. And this is what that does, right? It's a small connection. Even with your iPhones or your Galaxy phones, if you're not going Bluetooth, this is what you're hooking up to your phone. This is auxiliary. This is 1/4 inch. They look the same. One is fatter than the other. And I'll show you a real live demonstration. 1/4 inch auxiliary. This is a 1/4 inch adapter going on to auxiliary. Okay. This only produces sound. You're not going to get anything out of it, right? Just sound alone. That's it. All right, y'all. And I think that's about it. And I think I'm happy with this stream. I did kind of go with the cat on the string for a moment there, but I think I like this stream. Out of all the streams that I've done, I think I like this one the best because I got straight to the point and I don't want to over talk myself, and I want to go ahead and end this thing because I want y'all to watch these videos. If you have any type of questions or anything like that, or you're interested in streaming, this will help you out tremendously. I'm telling you. And before I go, I'm gonna tell you the reason why I'm doing these classes is because when I first started streaming, wouldn't nobody help me. Not Lamar Wilson, not Rich from Review Tech USA, not Boogie. Man, I used to watch all these cat streams. I just unsubscribed from him, man. And I would ask him, like, yo, your stream looks good. What are you using to do that? Nobody would reply to me. You know what I'm saying? Even other people, when I was watching them on Twitch, on PlayStation 4, when the PlayStation 4 came out and everybody started streaming. I think that's when I started streaming, when the PlayStation 4 came out. But I already had a background in music production and video production and photo production as well. So I already had equipment. It's just when I went to go stream one day, it's like, damn, I got all the stuff. I'm pulling out stuff out the closet, out of suitcases. I'm like, yo, I got everything that I need to do the stream. I already know how to put it together. It was just some things I had to educate myself on. And, you know, I did that by watching tutorials on YouTube. So I'm glad that I did that, and I hope I helped somebody out. If I only helped one person out through all these classes, I've done my job. You know what I'm saying? So um, thank you all for watching. I'll be back with another class tomorrow. I don't know exactly what that is, but I will be teaching y'all something else. But I appreciate y'all for watching. But if these classes are helping you out, man, please donate to the channel by going to $thagamersshow. That's the Gamer Show. Dollar sign is the Gamer Show. thagamersshow. And donate to the Game Show, $2, $3, $4, $5. It doesn't matter, man. That'll help the show out to bring y'all more continuous shows like this, so I can help you out. Even if you don't donate, man, I'll still come out here and do so, man. But appreciate y'all, and I'll be back tomorrow. Y'all take it easy.